Namaste friends, welcome back to our 14-day yoga challenge. My name's Candice and today I'm going to be showing you some of my favorite hands and feet stretching exercises. So there's no need for any props, there's no need for a warm-up. Today is going to be simple and easy and fantastic for this generation because I know we spend way too much time on our mobile phones, on our laptops, and we're a little crazy, so we need to look after the extremities. So this is all we're doing today. We're going to start off in a kneeling position. If you really struggle with kneeling, then you may want one prop, you may want a cushion behind your knees. But if not, start off with your toes tucked. So you've got your toes underneath the heels, they're tucked underneath, and then send your hips back onto the heels. We're going to sit up tall through the spine, hands just placed in your lap. Close your eyes, and this is already stretching out the toes. Now it may even be quite uncomfortable, particularly in the big toe. If you're someone like me and you wear tight shoes quite a lot, although I'm lucky with yoga, I don't have to most of the time, but I used to. So this is a really nice stretch for the big toes in particular, and for down the inside soles of the feet. So from here we're also going to stretch out the hands. Now remember, you can always prop your hips up, or if it becomes too uncomfortable, then just take another comfortable seat, any seat of your choice, and concentrate more on the hands. So we're going to extend the left hand in front of us, and we're going to use our right hand to pull the fingertips towards the body, just for a little stretch here on the left side. Now you should feel that stretch maybe even in the thumb, but then down the underside of the forearm. Hold this just for a couple of breaths. And then point the fingertips down towards the ground. You're going to pull those fingertips towards your body. So we're getting a stretch at the top of the forearm this time. It can be really satisfying if you've been typing away on your mobile phone. Maybe you're a social media addict and this hand has probably been doing a fair bit of work. So keep that arm really engaged, lift up through the elbow and pull those fingers towards the body. Okay, release. Give the hands a little shake, and we're going to do the same on the other side. You can stay up on the toes. If this is getting too uncomfortable, just take any seat, no worries. Take a break when you need to. We're going to extend the right hand and pull those fingers towards the body using the left hand. Keep that arm engaged, so you're lifting up through the elbow. You're not allowing it just to be hanging heavy. So you want it to be engaged, just helping out with more of a deep stretch. Again, you're going to feel that down the underside of the forearm. Maybe a little bit even through the thumb, even though you're not even touching the thumb, depending on where your tightness is. And then release. Now let's take the fingertips down towards the ground, keep the arm engaged, and we're going to pull the fingertips towards the body this time. You're going to feel that stretch, maybe along the forearm, but definitely down the back of the hand. This one can be quite intense, so only pull as hard as you want to. Again, it shouldn't be painful, it should just feel like maybe a satisfying stretch, maybe a little uncomfortable, but that's okay, as long as it's not painful. Close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths here. And then release the fingers, give your hands a little shake. Come on forward onto the palms, release the feet and start to slap the top of the heels against the ground. Just releasing those toes from that intense stretch you've been doing. And now remember, you can always put a prop underneath your hips if you need to sit on a bolster or a cushion. But now we're going to keep the toes untucked, so they're not going to be tucked. We're going to come on to the top of the flat side of the feet. And just sit up tall once again. From here, we're going to do some feet exercises. So if this is enough and you're already getting a stretch down the top half of the foot, then this is fine. You can stay here. Or you can take your fingers forward and start to lift the knees up off of the ground. Just do some little pulses, lifting the feet up and down. Sorry, the knees, not the feet. The knees up and down. Keeping your sit bones back on your heels or on your bolster or on a cushion. You can start to get a little faster with the movement. And then when you find a good spot where there's a stretch, just plant your hands onto the ground and keep those knees lifted. Suck in the belly. This is also a little bit of a core strengthener. So suck in that belly and you should feel the stretch down the front side of the feet. Take a few deep breaths here. And slowly release. Now come onto all fours. You can take your knees underneath your hips, hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to rotate our hands away from the body so they're facing towards the knees. Just do it with one hand. Do it with the left hand. And now you can always walk the knees a little further towards you and start to come back onto the heels. Now we're going to use the right hand and we're going to start to very slowly lift one finger off of the ground. So lift your index finger off of the ground, and that's going to get a bit deeper into a stretch down the back here of your forearm. Just through that particular finger, holding it just for a moment, and then very slowly let's release that finger and go over towards the middle finger. Lifting the middle finger up and off the ground. And then slowly release, go to your ring finger now and lift the ring finger off the ground. Lift it only as high as you can get it and keep that arm engaged. So you're not flopping into all of these poses, you're keeping engagement. And then slowly release, come to your baby finger, lift him up. Make sure it's not too intense. And then slowly down. And now let's lift the thumb. So lift the thumb back. So you're pulling it towards the long edge of the mat. Rather than up, you're lifting it up a little bit, but then also back. And then slowly release the thumb. Very slowly come up off of that hand, give the wrist just a little rub, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So coming back onto our all fours, you can keep your knees together, it may be a little bit easier. And we're going to rotate our right hand out to the side, and then so the fingertips are pointing towards our knees. Start to lean back, and already when you lean back you'll feel a bit of a stretch already. Now the further away the hand is from the body, the more intense it's going to be. So just play around with where you want the hand to be. Now let's lift them one at a time. Let's start with the baby finger this time. So lift the baby finger up off the ground. This is really going to help those texting fingers of ours. And release. Take the ring finger, lift him up. And slowly release that one. Let's take the middle finger. This one may be the most intense. Make sure you're listening to your body. Tune in. And then very slowly release him. And we're going to take our index finger, lift that one up. Hold it up just for a couple of breaths. This is also fab after doing yoga or lifting or weightlifting, something like that, where you're using a lot of power through the hands and the arms. And then slowly release that finger. And let's do the thumb. So we're lifting the thumb up, but we're pulling it back towards the long edge of the mat, so away from the body. And then very slowly release the thumb. Let's come up off of that hand. Give the palm, the wrist a little rub, or even the palm, wherever you want to. Give them a shake, and we're going to do our last pose of the day. So we're going to send our hips up to the sky for a forward fold. And we want to stretch the outer parts of the shins and of the feet. So bend your knees as much as you need to, but if you can straighten them, keep them straight. And we're going to start to tilt our feet onto the knife edges of the feet. And when you do this, you're going to feel a stretch on the outside of the shins and down into the feet, down into the ankles. So just stay here. If it's too intense, then do 1 foot at a time. And just be very gentle. You can stay up on the fingertips, and remember, you can always bend your knees if you need to. So let's hold the stretch just for a while. Engage the toes, so keep the feet really active. Lift up through the kneecaps if your legs are straight. Allow your neck to hang heavy, and let's all breathe here. When you're ready, very slowly start to bring the feet back to the center, roll forward, back onto the knees. And those are some of my favorite hand and feet exercises. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for day 11 of our flexibility challenge. So see you then, have a wonderful evening, and don't forget to use #YogaCandi so I can find you. Speak to you soon. Namaste.